Hello people and welcome back. Today's video is all about Julian Nagelsmann's tactic at RB Leipzig. Today's video is brought to you by myself and the Mastermind site. But for now, let's get started. As could be expected of Julian Nagelsmann's team, RB Leipzig don't have one consistent formation. However, they have seemingly moved away from their 4-2-2-2 or 4-4-2 system that served them so well last season. This season, they have favoured a 3 out of the back formation instead. But it is important to note that the system of play is less important for a manager like Nagelsmann. Players fulfilling specific roles, even ones that might contradict what a typical player in that formation might do, become more customary instead for a team like Leipzig. Musiala is the most frequent right back, even despite Taylor Adams' interest in occasional positional change. The left back Angelino is another of the team's frequent starters and has now sealed a permanent move to the club from Manchester City. The Spanish wing back has been solid defensively, but also one of the biggest attacking threats, scoring 4 goals with 4 assists in the league so far. Slovenian international Kevin Campbell dictates play in front of the back 4 or back 3 and has an excellent young understudy in Tyler Adams. Adams often plays alongside Kevin Campbell if and when the side plays a 3-4-2-1, but can also play right wing back as Musiala shifts to centre back or out of the side for a rest. Kevin Campbell is the best passer of the ball in the team, and like many players that Dortmund have let go over the past few years, he is making the black and yellows look very silly for letting him go. Captain of the club, Marcel Sabitzer, is another guaranteed starter when fit, and he's been frequently partnered by Amadou Hadera, who is slowly growing into a Naby Keita-esque presence in midfield. The versatile Christopher Nkunku and Dani Olmo have also spent their time playing in central attacking midfield this season. Swedish international Emil Forsberg starts games more often when the side plays a 3-4-2-1 to use his threat in the wider areas, whilst Poulsen has adapted well without Timo Werner alongside him. Despite the many names we have listed, Nagelsmann has been more consistent with sticking to the same 13 or 14 players for the bulk of the matches and minutes this season. So those are the players, now let's get into the tactics. Last season, the attack was one of the most impressive in Europe. However, this season without Timo Werner, they have gone the other way to have one of the best defensive in Europe instead. Nagelsmann's side have just conceded 18 goals in 21 games, the best defensive record in the Bundesliga. In fact, very few sides in Europe's top 5 have conceded fewer than Leipzig, PSG, Lille, Atletico and Manchester City. Led by a back 3 structure in most of their matches this season, RB Leipzig have made very few individual mistakes in the league and looks like a very sound, compact unit. Upamecano, Willi Orban and Marcel Holstenberg are usually 3 of the key men in the back line and are all excellent in both in and out of possession, but in the 3-1-4-2 or 3-4-2-1 formations, they have a few key midfield men who can also help break up play and stop attacking transitions from developing. This allows the wing backs, most dominantly Angelino on the left, to maintain a high position, knowing that the likes of Campbell and Adams or anyone else have the mobility to cover in behind. In fact, Angelino's average position is often the highest in this team, and so the midfielders become crucial to covering that space in behind and helping the Spaniard recover his possession or press when the ball is turned over. Only Bayern Munich have managed to keep the ball out of their own half more than Leipzig this season, which is both a feature of the defensive stability and high pressing methodology. Their lack of goals conceded is also helped by their high pressing system. Nagelsmann's side press in a diamond shape, with the front men particularly crucial to kick-starting that process. Rather than forcing their opponents back towards their own goal, they like to pressure their opponents into wider areas. This is where the wing-backs and central midfielders are often ready to outnumber the opposition, looking to cut off past the lanes and restart the attack. In the 3-1-4-2 system, it becomes very simple to achieve this, as several players are able to pop up in central areas and stop penetration through the middle of the pitch. The 4-2-2-2 system offered Nagelsmann similar advantages last season. In terms of specifics into how the teams press, Leipzig will shift and slide with the play as a unit and attempt to create a defensive overload on the side of the pitch with the ball. If, for example, the ball is on the right side, you would expect the near-sided striker, wing-back and both central midfielders to create a diamond, cutting off all potential passing options. They attempt to swarm around the opposition like a pack of bees, ready to sting and punch with any loose touches or bad passes. Last season, Nagelsmann would often switch to a 3-4-1-2 when he wanted to stop a talented number 6 from playing out of the back. In either Leipzig's 3-4-2-1 or 3-1-4-2 formations, the exact player tasked with stopping that number 6 may be less clearly defined and become a shared responsibility, rather than a lone attacking midfielder being tasked with that demand. It is also important to note that with usually only one striker actively involved in the pressing diamond and the other remaining high and central, the Red Bulls can have a quick attacking outlet should they win possession of the ball. When they do win the ball back, Leipzig look for the quickest route to go through one-touch passing and to link up with Poulsen due to his aerial threat, capable of holding up play and high position up the field. As a result, the intense pressing structure is an effective method for Leipzig to keep hold of the ball, stop the opposition getting anywhere near the goal and score goals. Leipzig have improved as a possession-based team since Julian Nagelsmann's arrival. In possession, Leipzig are now more patient. They like to get all 10 outfield players in the opposition's half before they attack and will often work the ball until they are able to achieve that level of offensive pressure. Upon finding the right angles to play forward, they will also do that at quick speed, one-touch combinations into the final third and advanced runs into space from their central attacking midfielders. Leipzig take one of the most vertical approaches to their attack in the league, partially down to their pressing and quick transitions, but also due to the natural shape of their formations like the 3-4-1-2 or 3-4-2-1. Although they favour the middle, Nagelsmann's side will also attempt to create overloads on one specific side of the field with a trio or even 4 players combining in tight areas to take opposition players out of the game and find spaces higher up the field. RB Leipzig's patient build-up and improvements in possession could be one cause in both their improvements in defence and slightly less attacking punch in the box, but it is certainly an important part of the improvement under Julian Nagelsmann this season. So there it is, a tactical analyst of Julian Nagelsmann's fluid RB Leipzig in 2020-2021, and we are now going to look into the Football Manager 2021 tactic that I have created for Julian Nagelsmann and RB Leipzig, so let's check it out. And welcome back. Here we are with the Nagelsmann FM21 tactic. There's actually 3 systems. We have the 3-4-2-1, we have the 3-1-4-2, I believe that's correct, and we have the 4-2-2, which could be the 4-2-2-2 if you want to shift the 2 wingers up, but I didn't want to do that, and we didn't really want to focus on the shape. The main focus was on the 3-2-1, and secondary was the 3-1-4-2. So for the main tactic in goal, we do have the sweeper keeper on the defend duty. In central defence, we have 2 central defenders on either side of the libero in central defence. The 2 centre backs, they do have take more risk to try and play the ball more forward and to try and break lines. The reason why I didn't use the ball playing defender is the ball playing defender usually tends to go for the more direct pass rather than try and break lines. They go for the more direct, so that could be a long ball over the top. He could be trying to feed the pressing forward, he could be trying to feed the inverted wing back or the complete wing back, rather than the centre back trying to just break lines with more risky passes, trying to feed our box-to-box midfielder and our deep line playmaker. In central defence, we do have the libero where Upamecano will be playing most of the time. In real life, I noticed he likes to bring the ball out from the fence as well as covering the defenders as well. On the left centre back, the reason why I have stayed wider is because we do have a complete wing back who has complete freedom basically just to move up and down the flanks. Mainly he's going to be looking to affect the attacking areas of the pitch, and there's a bit to try and get him to cover rather than leave that gap completely open once that complete wing back goes and attacks. So on the flanks, we do have a complete wing back on the attack duty. I've just changed it by an accident. The left side, we do have the complete wing back on the attack duty. He will get further forward and affect play. He can score goals, he can get assists. This is where Angelino will play. You can see that he scored 5 goals for me. If I click his profile, he scored 5 goals and got 8 assists. That is a very good outcome for my left wing back. And on the right wing back, we do have the inverted wing back. The reason being, I will pop up a screenshot right now. When looking at Nagelsmann's average position when using the system, the inverted wing back is actually operating in the half space rather than wider. But don't worry, because he has no other player ahead of him, he still can act like a more traditional wing back. Now for the central midfield, we have the box-to-box midfielder. He's going to roam around from his position and he would work very well when it comes to rotational positions. Now, for the deep line playmaker, he's actually going to hold these positions, so he won't actually rotate as much as other players around him. But we do have the inverted wing back who will roam from his position, and the same from the box-to-box midfielder. These players will be very, very good at positional rotations. If the deep line playmaker, for example, comes deeper to collect the ball, then the box-to-box midfielder, you can expect to roam from his position to pick a pocket to try and collect the ball himself. And what could happen is that he actually goes into position of the deep line playmaker, especially if the ball's on the right hand side. Then it's likely he's going to leave his position, roam from it to pick pockets to collect the ball, and if the ball's on the right hand side, then he's going to shift to the right hand side in order to collect the ball. So that's the box-to-box midfielder. And for the Kevin Campbell role, who is Leipzig's best passer on the ball, I'm not sure if I agree with that on Football Manager, but in real life, probably yes. He will be playing as the deep line playmaker, but he's going to be the main outlet when we are building up. He's going to collect the ball the most and play the most passes. In attacking midfield, we have two shadow strikers. Again, I will pop up a average position. Again, these players are very high, and usually they would overlap the striker, and that striker would usually be Poulsen. As he holds up the ball, then we have two runners getting in behind and also moving into channels. Moving into channels is going to be important when we are trying to penetrate the opponent. So that is why I went with two shadow strikers. We could have possibly went with an attacking midfielder or even advanced playmaker, but like I said, we want players penetrating. Also, if I did this, we only have one player penetrating. I could use the attacking midfielder on the attack duty, but he will be similar to the shadow striker, and the shadow striker is going to be more specialized in getting in behind. Up top, we do have the pressing forward, Unif Poulsen, and he will hold up the ball basically. He will also close down more, which is important to the system when it comes to pressing down from the front, and the two shadow strikers should follow in behind. For the second tactic, is very similar, but in midfield we do have a Mazzala on the attack duty. He's going to get further forward and help out the attackers get in behind as well, hopefully overlapping or underlapping the deep line forward. And his midfield partner will be a central midfielder on the support duty. Up top we do have a pressing forward, but he is on the attack duty now, and we have a deep line forward, similar to why the pressing forward was on the support duty. He's going to hold up the ball and have players running off of him. He's also going to be an option for us to play a direct pass when we want that direct pass available as well. And lastly, we do have the 4-4-2. We're not going to go into too much detail. Again, it's very similar. So for the team instructions, for the mentality, we do have the positive mentality. For the attacking width, we are on fairly narrow to try and channel our play through the central areas. And the approach play, we do have pass into space to try and exploit our forward runners. We do have focus through the middle, and we do have play from the defense. The passing directness is on short up. If you feel like you're struggling with the possession or it's just ineffective, the shorter passing, then I would advise you just to pull it back to 50% in the middle, put the passing directness into standard. In the final third, the only instruction that we do have is whipped crosses. In transition, we are going to counter press and make counter movements. Of course, that is very vital. And when the goalkeeper is in possession, he will distribute it quickly to try and start off our attacks. Out of possession now, we have a much higher line of engagement alongside a higher defense line. The defensive width is set to standard, so it's in the middle, 50%. And for the pressing intensity, we do have extremely urgent pressing intensity, prevent the short goalkeeper distribution, and we are going to stay on our feet, trying to win interceptions and not engage in tackles or give away silly fouls. That is against Nagelsmann's tactical plans. He wants to win the ball back, but he wants to win it by forcing mistakes, long balls or interceptions. And that is exactly what staying on your feet is going to try and do. The team instructions for the other tactics are very similar. For the second one, for the 3-1-4-2, we do have work the ball into the box. And for the defense line and line of engagement, it's changed. We do have the much higher defense line instead of the higher defense line, and we have a higher line of engagement instead of the much higher line of engagement. And the defensive width is set to narrow. For the 4-4-2, the team instructions is from the very first tactic, so it's going to be the exact same as the 3-4-2-1. But that is me talking about the tactic. We are now going to check the results because we got some very good results. In the competitions, we did win the Bundesliga. We played 34, we won 25, we drew 6 and lost 3. Our top goal scorer was the Norwegian, and our highest average rated player was Emil Forsberg, who is the Swede. In the Champions League, we got knocked out in the first knockout round by Inter Milan, but in the DFB Pokal, we did win that. We beat, who did we beat in the final? We beat Freiburg 3-0 in the final, so we dominated the final. In truth, we dominated the cup overall. So, in the Bundesliga, we did manage to score the second most goals, and we did have the best defense as well. If we check, yep, we only conceded 18, and Bayern Munich conceded nearly 30 goals. They conceded 29, we only conceded 18, but we did score 64 goals. For the expected goals for, we came in second with 56.92. Defensively, here we are. interceptions. We won 601 interceptions, which is the most in the Bundesliga. And to me, I believe that is down to staying on your feet rather than getting stuck in. We're looking for interceptions, and that's what the tactic is built around, to try and win the possession by forcing mistakes and winning the ball back by interceptions. And you can see that by possession 1 also. When it comes to possession 1, we won the possession the 3rd most in the league. The other 2 are kind of defensive sides. I think one's 9th in the Bundesliga and the other's 4th. So they're not really defensive sides, but we are up there and we are beaten by Munich also. So you can see for our formations used, 4-4-2, we only used that 3 times. I think that was in the cup games actually, the DFB Pokal. I just wanted to see if the 4-4-2 was decent enough to release basically. And for the 5-3-2, that is putting it down. So if we checked on what tactic that is, the 3-5-2 here, we only used that 7 times. Now I used that against Dortmund, Bayern Munich, the tougher teams, and the 5-2-2-1, which we would call the 3-4-2-1. We started with that 40 times, so 79% of our games. So looking at the squad stats, you can see Alexander Schorloff there. He's got 18 goals in 21 starts. Yusuf Poulsen, 14 goals in 22 starts. Dani Olmo got 13 goals in 40 starts. For the assist, Forsberg was our main creator. Lucas Klosterman got 10 assists. Christopher Nkunku got 10 assists, and so too Dani Olmo. Angelino's there as well with 8 assists and 5 goals. The best players for this system was Forsberg, Olmo, Schorloff, Klosterman, Michele, our goalkeeper, Poulsen, Nkulu, Angelo, and Upamecano. So for training, this is what I did for the training. You can see that defending from the front I find very important for the system, so I use that schedule twice in the week. Defending engage we do also have, and defending wide, but transition press I feel is important. On the Wednesday session 2, that is what we're doing, and on the Wednesday session 3 we do have chance creation. On Thursday, defend from the front, a little bit of teamwork and defensive shape, a little bit of match preparation before Friday, our final match preparation attacking movement for the match on Saturday. When we had 2 games in the week, the schedules were very similar. On the Monday, it's all about defending engage and defending from the front before our match preparation. Then we play our match, then we rest, we review the match, we do a little bit of teamwork, and then again match preparation for the match on Saturday. But that wraps up this tactical analyst of Julian Nagelsmann on Football Manager 2021. My name is RDF. It has been a pleasure. Shout out to my Patreons and shout out to my subscribers. I will see you soon. Also, don't forget to check out the Mastermind site. I will drop the link in the description. I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. I will see you soon. Peace out.